Hi, Dr. Regan Robertson, CCO of Productive Dentist Academy here, and I have a question for you. Are you finding it hard to get your team aligned to your vision, but you know you deserve growth just like everybody else? That's why we've created the PDA Productivity Workshop. For nearly 20 years, PDA workshops have helped dentists just like you align their teams, get control of scheduling, and create productive practices that they love walking into every day. Just imagine how you will feel when you know your schedule is productive, your systems are humming, and your team is aligned to your vision. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. We can help. Visit productivedentist.com/workshop. That's productivedentist.com/workshop to secure your seats now.
You're going to transition the practice at some point. And it's planning for that transition. When is that going to be?
Welcome to the Everyday Practices Podcast. I'm Regan Robertson, and my co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson, and I are on a mission to share the stories of everyday dentists who generate extraordinary results using practical, proven methods you can take right into your own dental practice. If you're ready to elevate patient care and produce results that are anything but ordinary, buckle up and listen in. Welcome to Everyday Practices Dental Podcast. I am your host, Regan Robertson, here with a special guest today. It was going to be a monologue because Chad is busy dentisting. However, I have with us today Productive Dentist Academy's Client Success Manager, Brent Hogan. Brent, how are you today?
Doing awesome. Thanks for having me, Regan.
We hopped on this podcast to do it together because Brent and I like to discuss the end in mind and keeping the end in mind. So for those of you who don't know, I work with Brent Hogan on a daily basis. And I can tell you, first and foremost, you're not going to find a better coach, oddly enough. Client Success Manager maybe sounds like a coaching capacity role. I'm not sure, but you've been a great coach to me over the years that we've known each other. And part of that is really looking at the end goal and then figuring out how to work your way back to making it today. And not a lot of people always think about the end goal in mind. Maybe think about a few years? I don't know what the average is.
A lot of people that I talk to in the industry, they aren't really looking at this year. They're not looking beyond that. And when I especially ask the question, what does retirement look like for you? Where does that venture for you? I always get the puzzled look of, what do you mean retirement? What is that? What is that? And retirement's different for everybody. So it's a number, but it's a goal. Really what I'm asking is, what do you have numbers or a vision of where you want to be down the road? Is that on a beach, like sipping pina coladas? Is it in a mountain town? Is it doing living in your town? What does that imagine for you doing? Taking care of grandbabies? That all can be things that you want to do. It's just, what do you vision yourself being down the road? And not a lot of people take that time to pause and think of what that looks like, or even have a conversation with their spouses to see what is their dreams, what are their goals, and aligning that up and working it backwards.
I almost want to throw away the word retirement, because when I think of retirement, it makes me think of an ending that could be very joyful. I mean, I love that you said, do you want to play with your grandchildren or be on a beach? Like, what do you want to do? But I feel that retirement to me means a bit of an ending. And my brain doesn't work like that. My brain works on, I guess, missions to accomplish, things to enjoy and look forward to. So I don't think about myself ending. I think the other piece for me too is, what about all the dentists that absolutely eat up and enjoy and soak up being a dentist every single day, or being a dental team member? I love what I do, for example. And so the idea of retiring sort of pulls apart that identity and for me and tells me, okay, well, you're to stop doing that. So what if we reframed retirement and instead thought about, okay, well, when you're this age, what adventure do you want to be embarking on? To me, that makes it more fun. Like, I know I went through Donald Miller's Hero on a Mission, and he forces you to plan out 10 years. And so it forced me to think out of that, like you said, just the next year and the next year. So it really put me outside of, okay, my children will be graduated at that time. What adventure do I want to embark on? And then I can start working backwards. And that made it a lot of fun. So I think I took the word, like, retirement is not something in my vocabulary index.
Well, and that's the buzzword is retirement. What does retirement truly mean? Because you can retire fully out of the practice, or you could be working a few days in a week doing what you love. Like it's all
Right.
defining what you want is where. But we all know something at the end of your career, you're going to transition the practice at some point. And it's planning for that transition. When is that going to be? There are people that I work with, that I'm talking to, and we work with, that they're in their 40s and they have a plan to retire by 55. We have people that are older than that, and they're looking for the journey. What's the next steps? But they haven't even thought about the process. So a lot of it just comes into thought. Put a plan together, and you can pivot along the way, but you overall have that arching goal, like we talked about, having the end in mind. What is it? What are you trying to accomplish? What are your goals? A person with no goals is one of the most dangerous people because they don't know whenever to stop or what they're going after. So being able to facilitate that conversation, it's just not about retirement. It's about, what is that goal? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Because then how do you know you made it there? Like, and when because you can always keep on. Christine Huon said this is, it's like weight loss. You want to lose weight,
Mhm.
but when do you know when you're done losing weight?
Oh. Are you mentally prepared once you hit your weight goal number? Are you happy with yourself at that point?
So there's a lot more that goes into that than just, here's a number, here's this. It's there. It's stretching it, what, and looking at a bigger picture of what do you want to accomplish and why. What is
Mhm.
your whys behind this? And you and I talked about this a lot of times at the workshop, is getting to that third level of why, even with yourself,
Mhm.
of why do I want to retire? Why do I want to do this? Knowing these conversations and going, I'm burned out. But why are you burned out? Why do you want to exit the practice? What are the reasons, in getting down to the true level of why?
Mhm.
That gets you to your goal of what you're trying to actually solve, and how we help a lot of doctors actually accomplish those, hit their milestones, hit their goals, and be able to enjoy their dreams of what they want to do.
You bring up a really good point when you talk about goals, because the goal the word goal is so ambiguous. It's so large. It encompasses so much. And I haven't heard thousands of podcasts. It feels like I've heard thousands of podcasts on goals and doing SMART goals and how to get your goals accomplished. For me, uh, two things that really helped me dial it in and articulate what's important to me. There's one piece that sits on the data side, and then one piece that sits on the philosophical emotional side, which is the why that you talked about. So Donald Miller was really good. The Hero on a Mission was great for me because it dialed into philosophically why I wanted to live the lifestyle that I want, that I hope to have as I age. That was really important. The other piece of it I picked up by Reese Harper at a he was it was when he first founded Dentist Advisors, and I heard him at an event, and he talked about knowing your net worth and what you would need to have in the bank to continue to live the lifestyle that you live today. So from the data perspective, he helped me articulate, oh, okay, I know I'm going to want to have this amount coming in per month to maintain the lifestyle that I have or exceed it. And so I called a financial advisor and said, tell me how much I have to save every single month to get to this number to know what I want to do. And the financial advisor pulled on a bit of philosophical why as well. He said, how many vacations do you want to take per year? Do you want to have one house or two houses? Do you want to just rent? Where do you envision yourself being primarily most of the time? Like, tell me about your activities. So he went through this really awesome lifestyle exercise with us as well. So at the end of all of that, we were able to come up with a plan. And I said the same thing. I didn't have a word for it at the time. I was like, 55 sounds good. But I didn't want to say retirement. I don't really want to retire. I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly helping. I could never stop helping people. Like that would be ridiculous. So it's more about shifting and continuing. Like if somebody came to me and said, you don't want to retire, but how do you want to continue your lifestyle? Like doing things today to set you up so you can continue your lifestyle so that maybe you don't have to work so many hours moving forward. That would get my attention big time. And I would pay attention to that. You also pulled up an article for me this morning that said 2/3 of peak baby boomers are not financially prepared for retirement. And I was really disappointed to hear because you and I were talking about pensions, and I said, "Well, I thought baby boomers all would be set up." That was just my ignorant thought. Like most companies at that time had pensions, and wouldn't you be protected? And the answer is no, not always.
Not always. And the glaring stat that we saw was over half of the baby boomer generation currently now sits with $250,000 or less in assets. And these are people that are going to now, they're looking at potentially exiting or having to work longer or looking for the future where they really want to hit their goals and they haven't set themselves up to the position or haven't had the ability to set themselves up for the position. Life circumstances do happen in a lot of planning assets of this. But being able to plan it out, be able to looking at the strategy of not tomorrow I'm going to do this, but being able to have that journey, to have that plan, so you do have the assets built up for you to do whatever you want to do. That's the biggest part of that is how can you control your own journey? How, with an extent, there's still things that happen in life, but as you're setting yourself up, what are you expecting? What are you looking, and not just in a year, but you're looking at 5, 10 years out of runway, especially if you're looking at exiting the practice here and building a transition plan. We know typically it's that transition plan is typically 5 years at minimum, if not greater, but really working that through the process. Do you have your banking set up? Do you have your estate set up? Do you have your team basically aligned for you to go down this journey? And are they the right people in your path? So as you're getting there, like I said earlier, at some point, all of you, if you're owning a practice, will transition at some point. And having that right team and being able to get to the greatest value of your asset that you are building, which is your investment grade practice, that will get you to the milestones where you want. And you have the ability to control that and build it over the period of time. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer, but knowing that runway, having those goals in plan, those are the key steps of making sure that occurs.
So you talk to dentists every single day. What are you seeing right now as far as answers to some of those questions go? Are they prepared? Are they thinking about those things? What are some of the questions that you get from dentists?
A lot of people, one, don't know the value of their practice, either EBITDA or value, what they could get on an open market. So there's great partners that we have that can be able to do that. Not to say that you're selling it today, but knowing your baseline of where you want to be. Also, the other thing is they don't have financial planners, or if they do, they don't know what they're getting. They don't know if their accountant's doing the right accounting and getting them set up, because the tax structure, you're running things through your business. Those are the conversations that where you start really having with the right team and the right individuals around you. Do you have the right associates? Do you have the right team members in the practice? What does this all look like? There is so much that people ask me is like, am I ready? That's a loaded question. I don't know if you're ready, because then it also comes emotionally.
Ready for what? Ready for the associate? Ready for the transition?
to transact. I don't know, because also part of this comes emotionally. Is you've been doing this for 20 plus years. It's a change. As a college athlete, when I transitioned from being a college athlete, that's a change. You're changing your identity of how you're really focusing most of your time. Have you built out your repertoire of serving others in different ways? What do you enjoy doing in your hobbies? As Bruce told me a while ago, he goes, "You can go on so many vacations and you can play only so much golf. What are you going to do with your extra time?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it comes in. What is your path? What is your journey? What's your joy outside of the like? I can help guide you to think about that, but that's your vision. I help people on the business side of looking at, hey, if we tweak this, these are little things that can help improve your practice growth and where you want to be in the long term.
What are some of the missions that you've seen come from these discussions with dentists? Like, what are some of the things that they want to do after they transition?
Some of them just want to be able to practice 2 days a week, on the timeline that they want to do it, doing the dentistry that they want to, which is 100% completely fine. And
I think it's sweet. I love that that's the answer. See, that's not retirement. And it's such a mind shift. That's not when you transition. If you could transition down to 2 days a week, practice the dentistry that you love, and then have the rest of the week free to do your golfing or do whatever, that to me sounds pretty cherry.
it is, and not everybody gets that opportunity, but it's
Yeah.
setting yourself up. Can you transition out of the practice, meaning selling that practice from your side to a person where you get to do, and you're basically the associate that comes in and does the things over a period, and to the team, working with the team that you love, working with the patients that you love. How can you get there for the milestones? And some people are like, "Hey, I'm just hanging up my handpiece and I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm moving down to Florida. I don't want to do it." That is okay. Like, do what you enjoy. Some people like, I'm going to take. I had one individual that they wanted to take about a year's worth of a trip, after they done and tour everything before it got too late, because they knew they were already starting to have some health complications, but they wanted to do the things that they wanted to do on their timeline.
I love that. Shout out, since you said Florida, shout out to one of my besties who moved down to Florida and opened up a crystal shop. So her and her husband, they're huge gemologists. They love to look at rocks and gems and things. And it's a great way to go. She'll do shows like blues festivals, music festivals, and you can go down and enjoy life on your terms. I think it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's all. But it all comes into planning.
Yeah.
That's the thing it comes back to, is like, tomorrow you can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to do this," because own a practice. You have a practice that you're taking care of other people's lives. You're doing this, so you really want to have the right fit for the people to handing them over to your patients, they trust you, they believe in you, they want to be known that they're going to be cared for and loved as much as you've cared for them over the past year. Same thing with your team, their families. You've run a business and supported them in their journeys. How can you get them into the right mindset of what this means? It's not, "Hey, I'm gone, see you later." It could be
Right.
that, but you do care for them. You look, as a family, because you spend more time with them than actually your true family members.
Hmm.
So setting that up for the long term is doing it the right way, is the best way I could say, is in this transition game. It is it today. I would start today if you haven't done. And those people that are purchasing their practice today, and this is day one, set it in the milestone. It's never too early to start thinking about the end, because where do you want to take this? What does good look like?
So walk us through what the steps are. So say I've got a 5 to 10 year runway. What steps where do I start, Brent?
A couple of things that you want to start. One, talk to a financial planner, and be looking at your goals of what can you retire with. If today's the right day to retire, do you have enough assets to live the lifestyle that you're currently living and from now on until you pass? That's first step. Second step is your business going to be a component or majority of that 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 financial value? If so, is the practice currently worth that amount? If it is, great. You've won the race. If not, we got some work to do. But really start looking at the business systems. How do we grow the practice to get it where you need it to be over the timeline that you have, and really start putting that in place.
And that I think business valuation is a sticking point, because I know that I have my self-experienced dentists over the years that feel that the business is worth one amount, and then it gets down to valuation and they find out that it's a different amount entirely. Even outside of dentistry, I find that quite a bit with businesses who think they should get X amount in goodwill, and when it comes down to the negotiation phase, it's not where they're at. So I think, is it PTS? PTS does business valuations really well.
Yes, Practice Transition Strategies is a great partner of ours on the Alliance side. They do free valuations for the people that and set them up with the knowledge. Kyle and his team, they're very transparent of what they think and what your practice can be on the open market. And he is one of the most honest individuals that I know. And he'll tell you straight up of what, like, you should grow it, what you can do for it, what the value is out there, and is it ready to be leveraged. So I really have that honest respect for him, and I've had these conversations with doctors. Is you're not ready to go, and they're okay with that. They have that journey, they have that window, and then those others that are completely surprised. I go back to Maggie Augustin. When she had her practice evaluation, and it brought her to tears, that she found out that her practice is what could cost for generational wealth.
Oh, you're meaning, yes, Dr. Maggie Augustine in her article on generational wealth. If you guys Google that, you can find her article on that. From $100 in the bank to generational wealth in what, less than 3 years, less than 5 years, something like that. Mm-hmm.
And so that is something in milestones is, what are you worth today? And now Maggie doesn't want to give it up. She wants to keep on growing her practice because she knows she can do more. But that is something that she never thought was going to be possible for her in her life. And now she has it there. And that's where we want you to have the option, the financial freedom number out there to say, hey, I want to do this. I have the ability to do this. Maggie is now stepping back. She's working, I think, 2 to 3 days a week, and doing the things that she loves outside of the practice. But she also loves serving the practice in a great way when she's there, and the patients that she's working on, and helping with so many smiles in the community. That's her joy of giving back to the dental community as a dentist, but also as a colleague. She wants to help others all throughout the nation and the world.
So I heard you say 3 things. First, know your number. So know what your lifestyle number is going to have to be to maintain the lifestyle that you want. Number 2, know your business value. So get your business valuated now so you know where to go moving forward. And then 3, I heard, discover your why. So what will your new mission be? What will your new purpose be? What will your identity be when you make that transition? Brent, what is it like personally for you? Why do you like supporting doctors in uncovering these elements?
I love supporting dentists because I believe that they should have the right to be able to do this on their terms. You've built your life, and this is even comes to myself, is we work so hard down to the end. Victoria said it's not fair that 20 plus years of dentistry comes down to one sheet of paper. And that's that's the truth about it. It comes down to one sheet of paper for a business valuation. And I think my joy is seeing people be able to get those accomplishments. They are able to grow the practice the right way to something that they truly believe in and that can support them, and their family for generational wealth or others outside of that. Because I know another dentist that he was growing his practice so he could give back to the community in a larger way. So it is whatever you want to do, but that's my joy, is helping others achieve their goals and their mission in life. That gives me joy. That's my mission. And me to help them and have the hard conversations in order for them to be able to get there and coach them to that point. If you're not being stretched, if you're not being pushed to your abilities, then you're stagnant. You're going backwards. So what is it constantly pushing the envelope and being able to do things a little bit better? Just that 1% better means a lot for me to see the growth. Because if you start adding up those 1%, it equals something larger.
It reminds me of when Victoria says success requires support.
It is. You can't do this by yourself. The brokerage, your banking, your accounting, your coaches, your marketing, all of it takes a team. You can't do everything yourself. And that's what I just want to say, is make sure you have a great team and support network behind you. That will help you in the long run.
This reminds me of you are the friends you keep.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Brent. This is a great episode today. Keep the end in mind. It's never too early or late to begin planning for your future today.
Correct. The person that does not have a plan is going to be the one that's going to be hurting down the end. And that's the biggest thing, is have that plan in motion. Think about it. Take time. I would really express that, is just really take time of what are your goals, your mission, and your values outside of dentistry in the coming years. And then start working it from there. What is your passion?
Thank you, Brent, for hopping on this episode of Everyday Practices Dental Podcast. And I wish you happy spring and happy summer. And we'll see you in September at the 20th anniversary PDA conference in Frisco, Texas. Thank you for listening to another episode of Everyday Practices Podcast. Chad and I are here every week thanks to our community of listeners just like you. And we'd love your help. It would mean the world if you can help spread the word by sharing this episode with a fellow dentist and leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. Do you have an extraordinary story you'd like to share, or feedback on how we can make this podcast even more awesome? Drop us an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts from Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentist.com/podcasts. See you next week.